Hello, hello. And yes, I am back here for another fabulous Genome Canada, Genome America Facebook Live, or at least I hope you find it fabulous. Yes, hello, everyone. Let me just make sure that notifications are working. You know, there's always a little delay here, but I've got the phone turned off, so no one is going to interrupt us today. Hello, everyone. It is so great to see you again today. My name is Michael Smith, the National Education Manager of Genome Canada, and I'm coming to you here from my palatial estate in Collingwood, Ontario, Canada. I'm about 2 hours north of Toronto, and I'm streaming here live in Genome Canada Facebook page, Genome America's Genome Sewing Machines Facebook page, Genome Canada YouTube, and Genome America YouTube. So no matter what platform you're on, there's always ways we can share the Genome love. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we've been celebrating National Sewing Month. I can't believe this is already the end of September, but it's a great time to get back in our sewing rooms to do some fast, easy projects. Dust off the cobwebs as we've been away for the summer. And then thinking, well, maybe we're going to teach kids to sew, the grandkids to sew, nieces and nephew, or maybe you want to improve your sewing skills. So we've done some projects all month. You can go back to review on Facebook for 30 days or back to the YouTube channel to review at any time. Today, we're going to make these very cute and very addictive pillowcases that, yes, you can make your own pillowcases. This is regular quilting cotton that, you know, my quilts in the back are all made from. We can use these for pillows, like pillowcases. Now, how fabulous is this? Maybe for a child, they want a special pillowcase that they'll take to a friend's house. And, you know, with Halloween coming up, well, wouldn't this make a great trick-or-treat bag as well? Nice and big. Now, there will be an upcoming blog post. Look for it on Genome Life blog, so make sure you subscribe. This will be a blog post on how to make these pillowcases that I'm going to go over very quickly today. Basically, make them in any size. Just measure your pillow. This one is about a standard, which is just the regular width of fabric, about 45 inches wide. We need 3 pieces of fabric here. The main body piece I cut according to our blog post by our fabulous Genome Canada educator, Marie Agnes. It will be coming up, so look for it on Genome Life. This was the width of the fabric by 27 inches. So 27 inches long, so about 3/4 of a yard long, by the width of the fabric is typically, again, about 45 inch wide for your main body piece here. The cuff here, beautiful accent cuff, is 9 inches wide by the width of the fabric, again, by that 45 inch wide fabric. And then this cute little trim, this little accent trim, is 3 inches wide by the width of the fabric. So when you have them all cut out and lay them on your table, you're going to keep them all folded the way they come from the bolt, and then you're going to trim off all those selvage edges so everything is the same width, because not all fabric is exactly the same width. But we'll trim them all off together, get rid of all those salvages. So again, 27 inches by the width of the fabric for your main piece for a standard size pillow. The cuff is 9 inches by the width of your fabric, and this accent piece is 3 inches by the width of the fabric. So very simple, easy to do. These are so fun, so addictive. So let's flip around, because as usual, time will go by so fast. So let's flip here. Now, I will only be able to show a certain amount of this. Again, time always goes by so fast. But basically, what we're going to do is this burrito technique. We did it previously on the first of the month when we did the scrunchies, and we fold everything up together. So then when we're sewing it, there's no raw edges shown. So here is my cuff piece down on my table, again, 9 inches wide by the width of the fabric. All my salvages are trimmed off. So you first lay down your cuff, then you're going to lay on top of it wrong sides together. Typically, we're doing right side, you know, good side to good side. In this case, we're doing wrong sides together. Of our cuff on the bottom is right side up. The main body fabric these cute little butterflies here. This main body fabric, again, is going to go wrong side together to your cuff. The right side is up facing me. So cuff on the bottom, this is the main body piece. We're going to align these cut edges and align the cut edges across the top. And then we're going to take our accent strip. This is that 3-inch wide strip by the width of the fabric. Again, all my salvages are cut off. We're pressing this accent piece in half, wrong sides together. So wrong sides together, press it. And then we're going to lay it here on top of, again, our main body piece with the cut edges all aligning across the top. The folded edge should be facing you here. So, and all of these edges are matched. So we match this. Now we can pin this across. We can use our Wonder clips to hold that together. And then we're going to fold up the other piece, the other side of your main body piece. We can just fold it up. This is where this burrito technique comes in. It's very cool. It's very fun. So I'm just rolling up my main body piece here. I don't want to include this, but I do want to expose. Here's my cuff. I do want to expose it because now I'm going to fold this over and match all these raw edges up here. Again, the sides should be matched and all across here, folding it up so everything is encased inside. This is the burrito technique. So it looks really weird, but this works so well. So again, you see all my layers in here. There is my cuff. There is my main body piece. Here is my accent band folded in half. And then I have my other raw edge of my cuff. So this is my little sandwich that I'm then taking to the machine. Now, as we're learning to sew and refining our skills, it really helps to get this fabulous 1/4 inch foot. It is the O foot. All Janome feet are lettered. I did a series called the A to Z with Janome series that's on Janome Canada Facebook that you can review. It's got this wonderful guide to the side. So by using, I can move my needle over, and by using this foot, then I just butt the fabric up against that guide for super accurate seam allowance. Now, depending on your machine, maybe you'll just clip on a 1/4 inch foot and use that center needle position. In my Skyline S7 AE that I'm using again today, I'm going to select a special 1/4 inch stitch. So I can go into the quilting decorative stitch category here, go into quilting, and then boom, there is my 1/4 inch P for piecing stitch. Now you see that the line of stitching has moved to the right on the LCD screen. It recommends I use that O foot. In this case, it has a guide. There is an O foot without a guide, so you could get that from your Janome dealer. This, again, needle position is at 8.3 over to the right. Now, this tight little piecing stitch at 1.8 is great when I'm just piecing two pieces of fabric together. In this case, I have several layers together, so I can lengthen this. I'll lengthen it back to my standard of 2.4. That'll still be a nice secure seam. So we can layer these all together. And believe me, these get so addicting. It's so fun to do. So I'm just making sure all of this is beautiful. And again, there is going to be a Janome Life blog coming out Saturday. So this is Wednesday. So this will come out Saturday. So then you can get all the instructions for this blog, for this pillowcase. So here I'm just starting my seam. Let's back stitch to make that nice and secure. And then here, away we go. We're just going to sew this long seam, keeping these cut edges up against that fence of the O foot. It really helps. So again, we're just going to sew all the way down. If we are teaching someone to sew and they're worried about the speed of the machine, many of our machines have these speed control sliders to make it really convenient. We don't have to worry about the stitching getting away from us, the machine getting away from us. So again, I won't finish this seam. It's rather long, but then there we go. I'm just stitching all the way down. Remove your clips as you go. And everything is all nicely encased. Now, once that seam is done, then we're going to, it's very easy to flip out. We're going to take all of these layers and pull it all out. Now, again, I haven't completely sewn mine, so I'll just show you this little bit, but we're going to flip it all the way out. You would finish your seam, and then you see how everything, boom, is so beautiful. On the inside, the cuff attached to the main body piece, that seam, beautiful. It's all encased there. The seam allowance is encased. Isn't that cool? And here is our little accent flange and the cuff. Isn't that beautiful? So all of that is done. Then we press this out so it's nice and flat. We don't want any folds here. So we've pressed that out nice and flat. Make sure you turn it around from the back side as well and get this nice and flat with your iron. So beautiful. It's already looking very great. Now, if you would like, you could sew. This flange is just going to stay out here, this accent piece. If you would like, you could stitch it down if you didn't want it to flap up. You could make a smaller band if you wish. You could do some decorative stitches. This is my pillowcase literally off my bed. I've been sleeping on it for quite some time, but you see that, of course, you get so addicted to these pillowcases, and your machine does so much. So I thought, how about I just use that beautiful serpentine stitch here, just as a little accent on my cuff. And then here to stitch down this part of that flange, I use some of the decorative stitches. There we go, where it says sweet. I always love to type out with the pattern combo tool there where it does stitch sweet love. And then there's a little heart, many decorative stitches you could use if you would like to sew down that flange. So that is possible. Now would be the time to sew down that flange if you wanted to. In this case, I'll just leave it. It's fine if you leave it. But again, why not embellish this more with some of your decorative stitches? So that's really cool. So once we have this all sewn, then we're going to take the pillowcase. And again, mine wasn't completely sewn just for the sake of time. But we're going to then fold this together, but wrong sides together. We're not going to do this right sides together. We're going to do wrong side together, and we're going to sew a French seam. And what I have this here. So the cool thing, French seams are, you take them from the garment industry in that they're encased. All the seam allowances are encased. So here is another finished sample here where I have my cuff all finished, and now I'm going to sew this seam. So I have wrong sides together, and now I'm sewing, matching my cuff, and then do take the time to match this accent band. We want to make sure these seam allowances match here, and the edges of the band should match. So I'm just going to sew 1/4 inch down. I've already started to, again, save time. So we're sewing 1/4 inch down, and I'll get right back to where I started here, or where I finished. There we go. Because then I wanted to go over this technique called pivoting. So when we're sewing, pillows in particular are great, or again, garment sewing of any kind, tote bags, we're sewing down. And again, we're using that 1/4 inch foot, so it's super accurate. So once I get down to the bottom here, I can stop sewing a 1/4 inch from this raw edge. Now, some of our Janome machines here have these wonderful markings on our patented needle plate. And I can see, oh, there's a 1/4 inch horizontal line right on my patented needle plate. So I know I'm a 1/4 inch from the edge of my fabric. Some of our presser feet also have, here on my 1/4 inch foot, for example, we have a little notch as well on the foot, a 1/4 inch. So we know from the raw edge, and that will be in line with that little notch, that it's a 1/4 inch from the needle. So I know when to stop and position my fabric. Now, many of our machines have an auto presser foot lift, and we can put our needle in the fabric. And we have this auto presser foot lift function. When I engage that, every time I stop sewing, the needle's going to drop in the fabric automatically, and the presser foot will raise. So maybe your machine has that capability. If not, you can always just turn the balance wheel to put the needle in the fabric and then raise the presser foot either by the auto presser foot lift, or maybe reach around and raise the presser foot. And you're just going to spin your fabric around. You're just going to pivot the fabric around. So that way now, that needle acts as kind of a third hand. And now, boom, look at that. Using the patented marks on my needle plate or using the marks on my presser foot, I know exactly when to pivot that at that corner. So then now that raw edge of the fabric is in line with the guide on my foot. And I'll just quickly finish this seam. These get so addicting. And again, great for the kids going over to a sleepover. They can have their own special pillowcase. And then here I'm just going to backstitch. There we go. Boom. Done. So simple. Now, to help reduce some of the bulk in this corner, we go back with our fabulous 4-inch mini duckbill scissors. And again, I can just shave off that corner just to make it a little easier to turn. Now, before we turn it, though, we want to cut down, trim these seam allowances. We've sewn them at a 1/4 inch, but now we want to trim them down to create this French seam. So I have already done that a little bit, and I will continue here. So in this case, I'm using my rotary cutter and my ruler, and I'm basically cutting off about 1/8 inch. I'm reducing this seam allowance to about half of what it was. So I started with a 1/4 inch, and now I am trimming this off. There we go, about again, 1/8 inch. So I'm reducing this by about half. There we go. Just get rid of that seam allowance. Boom. So now I can turn this inside out, and do take the time to press this, and use your bamboo point turner if you would like to help here poke out that corner. Get that nice and sharp. There we go, nice and sharp. And then again, with our other corner, get that out, nice and sharp. Boom, boom, boom. Super simple. There we go. Boom, nice and sharp there. Beautiful. So now, again, you would take the time to press this. I don't have my iron near me, so I won't. I'll just finger press it here. It's wonderful to have a machine with the beautiful extension table. Here in Canada, at least, the Skyline anniversary machines have the extension table included. So that really makes it very nice to help support your work. So when you get to doing this seam, again, I will start here. And we're going to, again, still use that 1/4 inch seam allowance. And this is why, again, we needed to trim our seam allowance a little shorter, a little more narrow, because now when we go back and do the 1/4 inch, those seam allowances are going to be all encased. This works out so well. So this is called a French seam. You will find this in very expensive ready to wear. Definitely you'll find it in couture sewing for sure, where all of those seam allowances are encased. And again, I'm just going to try to fold this out a little more, where again, you would take the time to press this so it's all nice and even. So yes, then this technique is a great technique to learn. You can use it in so many other applications. And it's a really good, again, more expensive finish because it does take a little time to do this, but it really works out well. So as I go up to this corner here, that again, I can pivot right on that corner. Boom, boom, boom. A little more. Ooh, maybe one little stitch more. Now, do you see with that auto presser foot lift? Boom, the needle has come down in my fabric and my presser foot has raised. And then again, you would take the time to press all of this. And there, boom. And you just go up this other seam. It works so well. Again, I won't bother to stitch this all for the sake of time, but works out really, really good. The main thing is I wanted to share when we get into this corner here, everything is beautifully stitched there with my pivot. Because this corner now is a little bulky, when we go to fold this corner right side out, what I like to do is fold it down on itself, basically. So I wrap it. I've got my finger under here supporting that corner. And I basically just fold the corner onto itself. So there I folded it over down that way. And now I'm going to fold that little point. And again, it's so fiddly, but it does make it a little flatter when you turn it. There, I folded over that little corner. Do you see right on that seam allowance? And then I'm just going to pinch that in. So when I fold this over, already it's a little flatter. And then I take my bamboo point turner to help me. And it just creates a flatter corner, a sharper corner. It works out really good just to sharpen that off. So you fold over the corner onto itself when you flip it over. So it works out really, really good. Then this, again, you would take to the iron and you would press out, roll these seams. You roll these seams onto themselves, and then there you get rid of any of these little wispies that come through. But you just roll the seams like this to get them nice and flat, and then you press to get them nice and flat, and then again you come around and roll these seam allowances, roll them out so you get the seam on top of each other, and then press that little bit. So it works so well. And again, I always have all these projects in stages. So one of these days I'll finish them all. But it works out so well. So then when we go inside, and again, we see all of our seam allowances on the inside. Look, everything there, it's completely encased. So this helps the pillowcase wear better. It's not going to wear out as quickly. And we'll definitely put up 2 more launderings. But it looks really, really good. And again, you'll see on my finished sample here, take the time to line up those accents here. They line up there beautifully. Everything is beautifully pressed. And again, it feels so much better. Now this I haven't even washed yet, but oh, these feel so much better when they're washed. But look at on the inside, how beautiful all that stitching is. Those seam allowances completely encased. And then again, you'll see my nice sharp corner there. And then there was the potentially bulky corner of the side seams there coming together I can feel that bulk, but it's really, again, not bad. But look how beautifully sharp that is just by going in and folding over each seam allowance on your finger first and then flip it around. It'll be nice and flat. So again, there will be a future Janome Life blog posted on Saturday. So this coming Saturday. So then you will be able to see you'll be able to follow along with Marie Agnes's instructions there. And then you can also go back to our respective YouTube channel and respective Facebook pages to sew with me live if you wish. That would be wonderful. So thank you everyone so much for joining me all this month for National Sewing Month. It's been absolutely wonderful to share some little tips and tricks with you and some projects, quick and easy projects that you can do yourself, or again to help someone learn to sew, help refine their skills. That's what Janome is all about, here to help you. So thank you everyone so much for joining me today. Have a fabulous day. Bye.